What in the world?
Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I'm Jason. As always, my co-host, the voice of MMA in Utah, Mr. Zack Partridge. Dude, I like the background there. I like it. Sweet. Got the belt.
It looks nice.
Got the flag.
We'll be back at the office. We'll be back at the office on Monday.
Can you see my Jorge Masvidal and The Rock BMF signed photo?
That is cool.
How about that?
That's cool.
How about that? Hey,
outside.
We got a lot to talk about today. We've had a week off. I hate when we have freaking weeks off. Hate it. But we're lined up now. We got freaking local fights coming up. We got local fights on the 17th, the 31st, UFC tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff.
We're taking another break and going to Cabo.
We're going to Cabo. We cannot record in Cabo or else we will both be single men.
Oh my gosh.
And divorced if we try to record in Cabo. So do not ask us to try to record in Cabo.
We are taking a weekend off, folks.
I may even turn my phone completely off. I usually do pretty good on vacation. I don't. Once I'm on vacation, it's like, you know what? No, unless it's emergency.
If I'm in Mexico,
yeah, laying on the beach,
my phone is on to play Candy Crush and Solitaire. And I'll probably be back in Facebook jail by then. So it's not like I'll be on social media.
The cyber bully is back.
Timeout. The amount of crap I see on Facebook.
You're getting hosed. You're in the algorithm now. They got your name. You
gotta be kidding me.
It's stupid.
And certain posts that me and you have talked about, I'm not getting into it because I'm not giving any airtime to that nonsense on here. But I reported the page. What up?
Dang on. Yes, you did. You called it. He called it.
Yeah, good call. But so I reported that page though, because if that isn't hate speech, I don't know what is.
It's not.
And just folks, just take our word for it. We're not getting into it. Zack Zuckerberg.
Jeff.
All right, Jeff. All right.
Oh, man.
You get it too, Jeff.
Yeah, I reported it too, and it didn't do any good. Nothing.
And they came back and said it didn't violate their standards. I'm like, how am I violating your standards? But that isn't. It was straight hate.
This is why I try to avoid any.
Hey, Zuckerberg, suck my nuts.
You're going to get us canceled now. Oh, man. We got a lot to talk about. All right. What do you want to talk about first? You want to do the
Joe Schilling?
Oh, is it? Yeah, Joe Schilling. That was it. That was interesting.
You have an interesting take because ours is a little bit different. Yours is valid, but it is a little different. And for anybody that's listening, just so you know, me and Jason don't argue and take other sides just to argue.
No,
so you know.
I thought about this long and hard because I'm one of those guys that I can see both sides of the story. I get it. I get where both sides are coming from.
And you've worked at a bar before.
And I've worked at a bar for 6 years, so I've been around drunk people. Here's my only issue. Should the guy have gotten probably dropped? Maybe he deserved it. There was some stuff out there that he abused his girlfriends, whatever. He was saying stuff, but from watching this video of this guy, he couldn't even stand up. He's drunk, right? Mm-hmm. Joe walks by him and kind of pushes him out of the way a little bit to get out of the way because I get it. He's being irritating. And the guy says something to him. Okay, so he squares up to him. The guy's probably a good 40 pounds less than him. And the guy flinches like he's going to hit him.
No. He doesn't just flinch.
He cocked back but
dude.
Here's my thing. Here's where my issue with this. Lesson number one, when you walk into any gym, any dojo, any gym, what are you taught? Discipline, right?
Respect,
discipline.
Once you're trained, you better not get any fights because you're going to get held to a higher standard.
And I'm not saying that this guy didn't deserve this, but this is a professional fighter. He had to know that guy was drunk. I'm sorry, but I could tell from the video that guy is shit-faced.
Oh, yeah.
And that guy wasn't hurting him with a punch. Like, this guy is a professional fighter, and he freaking dropped him.
Oh.
Like, I'm torn because Michael Bisping, it was either the day before or the day after, some guy cracked him. And you want to know what he did? He laughed at the guy.
Because he's a gangster.
I just think that I don't know. I'm like torn. Did the guy deserve it? You think the guy deserved it, right?
Oh yeah. Here's the deal. Okay. Here's the deal.
Maybe if
Joe Schilling is one of the best kickboxers in the country.
See, that's what.
Okay. So, but if anything, how is it not a lesson of, hey, you moron? One, yes, discipline, respect, la-di-da-da-da. That's great. Professional fighter, martial artist, whatever. Joe Schilling's not a martial artist. He's a savage that knows martial arts.
Yeah.
1. 2, okay? Be responsible with your drinking.
I agree there. I 100% with you on that one.
If you're out in a public place consuming alcohol like that and being disrespectful to people, and from the body language for other people around the bar, he's kind of annoying the crap out of everybody, right? He's that guy at the bar. So the 2, that's on him as well.
I get
it. 3, people, stop pretending like you're tough and can fight if you can't, because guess what? There's always a bigger fish. You know why most fighters don't fight? Because they don't have to.
Because they don't have to. Yeah, exactly. I don't think he had to fight there. That's you're secure in it. And the other thing is too is there's enough gyms around, and MMA is becoming a popular enough sport. Is if you're that guy and making yourself look like a horse's ass, out and about. Eventually you're going to run into a Joe Schillings, probably not a Joe Schillings, but you're going to run into a guy with some cauliflower ear that can do whatever he wants to you. Right. Oh yeah.
This is exactly what I'm getting at, is Carl's comment here is, guess what? Stop it. Because eventually if you act like that, somebody's going to whoop you and you deserve it.
I agree with that. I'm mainly just playing devil's advocate where it's like,
I know. But so do you remember the drunk guy in Vegas that Matt Serra took down, mounted, and then just kind of held him in mount and was like, calm down. And then security comes over and freaks out. And he's like, I'm controlling the situation. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
That's probably what somebody like Joe Schilling should have done. But if somebody, I don't know about you, but if I'm somewhere, I don't care if I'm trained, he's not, whatever. If I'm in a public setting and somebody flinches at me like they're going to hit me, I'm dropping them like a sack of potatoes.
I agree. 99.9% of the time, I'm going to agree with that statement. The thing I have a hard time with is I could clearly tell that guy couldn't even stand up. That's where I'm having a hard time with it.
He couldn't after Joe dropped him.
And listen, and this is another thing that you have to think about. If MMA, which it's on the brink of surpassing some big major league sports, right? Like I just saw a tweet where I think it was John Anik said that it's past NHL. It's above NHL as far as So you can't have a professional fighter knocking some douchebag out at the bar like that. It just, I mean,
yes, you can.
You can't. It's not a good look for the sport. I'm just saying. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
You're right. It's not.
I think the guy probably should have got dropped because
it's not a good look. It's a great look.
It's not. It's not. I get it. The guy probably 100% deserved it. But when you got a guy that's a professional, if Michael Bisping knocks out that guy that punched him, what happens to Michael Bisping?
I can't say that. He gets praised by me this exact same way Joe Schilling is.
He gets praised by you, but there's going to be people out there that are going to look at that and be like, he probably didn't have to knock that guy out.
So do you remember the story that we talked about with Chael?
Yeah.
Where Chael talked about Jorge Masvidal dropping some random guy in the bathroom after he sucker punched some dude in the club. Jorge sucker punches some dude in the club, comes up to Jorge. Jorge's wearing a chain.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The
guy flicks the chain, and Jorge says, either I'm about to get this jumped and get this jacked or something. Can't let that happen. So he knocks that dude out and another dude out, right?
Yeah.
Well, then security comes over, and he slips into the bathroom, right? Another dude comes into the bathroom, and he goes, and he drops that dude too.
I do, yeah.
And Chael goes, Jorge, What if the guy was just going to take a leak and he goes, couldn't take the risk? Okay. If that's caught on video, then you're a douchebag. Jorge, that's a bad look.
Yeah.
Right? Because that guy could have just been going to take a leak.
Yeah.
When somebody flinches at you, suggesting that they're willing to hit you, I don't care. I don't care if it's Francis Ngannou. You have the right to defend yourself and not let another man take a swing at you. I'm never going to let.
Carl's got good in. I love Carl's insight because he's got.
Had a drunk.
He came at me aggressively trying to fight. I don't hate that. I respect that. I am all for that. I'm just for me watching the video, and I don't have a problem with the guy because I would have liked to seen it from somebody else instead of a highly trained, knowing that he had to. Okay, if he didn't know the guy was drunk and maybe he didn't see it and whatever, okay, defend yourself. But this whole, hey, I'm defending myself. That guy wasn't freaking hurting him. Are you kidding me?
A threat, but
he wasn't a threat. I've been in situations when I worked at the bar where guys have been shit faced and it's like, dude, I could crush this guy, and I don't even fight, and I could freaking knock this guy the hell out.
So what if it's not Joe Schilling though, and he does it to somebody else and actually hurts somebody? That guy needed to be taught a lesson.
I don't think the guy was going to swing though. I think he was just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like, I'm playing devil's advocate because I've leaned towards the guy should have got punched in the mouth, but I'm just playing devil's advocate from as a sport as a whole.
You can't say I don't think he was going to actually put. I know. That's like saying it's like what that's like them somebody.
I agree.
That it's like the same thing as like when somebody pulls a rubber like a freaking airsoft gun at somebody, and then they get shot, and it's like you shot him. He's like, how was I supposed to know that was an airsoft gun? I thought he had a gun. You know, you can't.
I just think it's setting a precedent that it's gonna look bad on the sport when you're trying to get. Joe Schilling. A lot of people might not know who he is. But if you get a guy like Michael Bisping doing that, they're not going to have these guys on ABC and Fox and ESPN, which is going to get me back to going into our next conversation that I want to talk about with Stephen A. Smith.
Other differences. Oh my gosh. Other differences.
I got an interesting take on that.
Michael Bisping is a retired fighter, and now his profession is a commentator and a talking head. Joe Schilling is a current active fighter. That's why it's different for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true too. I don't hate it. I'm mainly just playing devil's advocate here. Like I'm just trying to see it from the other side, looking at the video anyways, but
all right, proceed to piss me off with Stephen A. Smith.
Okay. Getting back into what we're at, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Those of you who know us listening to this, like, Stephen A. Smith is not my favorite person. I cannot stand listening to this. But I had a thought the other night about him being commentating. He's not going to be a color commentator. He's on the desk, right? He's not color commentating with Rogan and those guys, right?
Oh, I
think he's on the desk, I thought.
Oh, I see. I could live with that because I don't really watch that stuff anyways. I thought he was going to be on the air like with like Rogan, DC, and
I don't think so.
Okay, because if he is, they deserve to have all the streamers and nobody buy it.
Here's why I think this could be a good thing. If you want to grow the sport of MMA, right? Like it's involving, and you want to bring in a different crowd, a different demographic, right? You want to bring a different demographic to look at this. Having a guy like Stephen A. Smith, love him or hate him, he's going to get people talking. He's going to get people watching. I kind of don't hate it. I don't want to hear him. I don't want to hear Bisping either, but I got to listen to him.
Bisping at least knows the sport. He's a freaking former champion.
Everybody has to start somewhere though. And it's like Stephen A. Smith, he's not some athlete. Like he's training. He's clearly training. You saw, he can't throw a punch, but he's clearly training.
Gosh, here's an idea. You want to get him started in the sport and got to start somewhere? Have him go to Chris Machi's show in New York and let him commentate for that. Not freaking UFC 264, the most anticipated trilogy that we've had since what? Probably. Yeah,
but he's not color commentating though. And even if he was, it's getting people talking about it. No. It's getting people talking about it.
Here's the deal.
You're getting more eyes Look at it from a business aspect. You don't think that's a good business move for ESPN? You don't think it's a good business move?
No, I think it's horrendous. It's ESPN's head shoved so far up there. You know what? That I hate Steve. I cannot express enough how much. Stay in your lane, bro.
But hey,
you're a basketball guy. I'm not asking them. I'm not asking.
Clearly like him
because it's stage crap. He is. Why don't we get Jerry Lawler? Why don't we get Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross? Why don't we get Jerry Lawler and I mean, yeah, I am getting fired up. Why don't we get Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross and the whole Raw and SmackDown old talking head crew to commentate as well? Bring in that demographic, all the WWF fans or WWE fans.
Now that you say that, well, NFL is established.
Hey, Tony Romo's great on the mic.
Carlos hates me too. I hate the guy too, Carl. I'm just thinking big picture for the sport as a whole.
You know what? Tony Romo is great on football. Let's put him on the desk too.
I would.
Okay.
Here's the question. Here's the question.
Doris Burke. Great NBA.
Here's a question.
Great NBA sideline reporter. Why don't we let her take over Megan O'Leary's job?
Is Max on the desk too? Or is it just Stephen A? Is Max Kellerman on the desk?
I haven't heard that.
Because if he's not, why didn't Max Kellerman? Why isn't Max Kellerman getting that shot over Stephen A? Because Max at least knows fighting. Right?
Dude, he's great at boxing.
Max is freaking amazing. Like he is legit. So I think it's I won't get into
problem.
I won't get into why I think it's Stephen A. Anyways,
we both know what it is, but we're not. No, we're not going.
I just think,
but at least Max is a competent combat sport and knowledge. Stephen A's, he's a basketball guy. He knows about as much about MMA and the sport and can talk on those points as
how many extra views do you think? But Stephen A. Smith is a smart man. You can hate him all you want. He's a smart guy. Like I'm sure he's educated himself enough to be able to have these conversations on this.
You know what he did?
Right?
I'll give him fair. You know what? His interview with Conor was good.
Yeah,
he's a good interviewer.
Do you know this UFC pay-per-view has had the most pre-buys than any pay-per-view? They've had the most pre-buys.
Nothing to do with Stephen
I know, but I'm saying you get a guy like that on there that's not normally on there. You're going to get guys that do like him. I'm not saying I like him and I agree with this. I'm thinking big picture here. You're getting more eyes on the sport.
He's not doing anything to bring more eyes on the sport. No. And no. You know who brings eyes on the sport? Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier.
Conor McGregor definitely brings, yes, he does. We'll roll that into, which I hate the Stephen A. Smith thing. I just think it's big picture wise. I don't think it's as bad as.
Okay. I can confirm now. Shout out Jackson. I can confirm that he's just on the desk.
He's just on the desk.
Which, okay.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all.
I just don't want to hear his opinions because last time they let him do it, he was so disrespectful and ignorant to Donald Cerrone that he made himself look like an ass.
But did he?
He did.
Was there truth in what he said? Was there a little bit of truth in what he said about Donald Cerrone not being
but
present?
He doesn't have the credibility and credentials to be able to run his mouth like that about this sport. This isn't basketball. This isn't around the horn where you guys are all paid to have different opinions. This isn't freaking PTI where you guys are paid. What's his bull crap show where
people want to see other people's opinions on it though? I'm looking at it from an outside perspective, as a non-fighter perspective.
Real opinions. He doesn't give real opinions. He just tries to be polarizing. Yeah, let's put Jake Paul in there. That brings eyeballs. Jake Paul would bring more eyeballs than Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. does not bring eyeballs. Jake Paul does.
I bet you he gets a lot of good.
I'd rather have Oscar De La Hoya coked up on the desk than freaking.
You know who I do like? I love Ryan Clark in DC. I listened to their first episode that they did yesterday. I like Ryan Clark doing
cool.
It.
You know what?
This is a guy that's a non
guy.
Yeah, he's great because he's followed the sport and he knows the sport.
Well, DC, cool.
DC called him out while they were live about some of his tweets about asking how much DC weighs, and he went all the way back to like 2014 on some.
For the
of
record, stuff. DC's like 320 pounds now.
Easy. But I don't hate. I do hate Stephen A. Smith being on there, but I think there's more to it than what we're
There's
seeing.
So many. Here's my issue.
I would have rather seen Max Kellerman.
There's so many more qualified people.
I agree.
And ESPN,
but he's controversial. And what sells? Controversy sells, right?
Well, yeah, we just talked about it on a podcast for 10 minutes. But mark my words. If I saw Stephen A. Smith in person, I would walk right up to him and I would tell him he sucks.
He's
right
got a mean uppercut. You're going to get Joe Schilling.
Oh, dude. No, I would do what Michael Bisping did and I would laugh at him. I would giggle. I would.
All right. I just pissed all of our listeners off by saying,
look, we have no viewers now. Look,
nobody's watching the podcast and you're like, Jason's freaking stupid.
Jason, you just ruined all the momentum we built over the last year and a half. Just ruined all of it. Congratulations.
Stuff I think about when I take my sleeping meds at night. We'll just leave it at that.
Oh my God.
I get deep in thought. Anyways, let's break down this card because we got another fighter spotlight and we're going to jam through some of these first undercard ones pretty quick until we get to the main card.
How about the guy that's 3-2 and doesn't belong in the UFC?
Or are we going to get to that guy already?
He's the first fight of the night.
Oh, you're talking about this Yao Zong Hu guy?
Yeah.
First fight of the night in the middleweight division, Alan Amadovsky against Yao Zong Hu.
I'll fight him.
Alan is 8-2. He is 5'10" with a 74-inch reach. Hu is 3-2, 6'3", 72-inch reach. He's already had 2 fights in the UFC
and lost both of them.
He's lost both of them. So what's he doing now?
And hasn't fought in that. Now is what? Hasn't fought in 3 years.
Yeah, almost 3 years, 2.5 years.
His last win was in December of 2016.
So you like this Alan Amadovsky guy? Odds are pretty close.
Are they really?
135 slight favorite for Alan. The comeback is plus 110 on you.
I'm going to take Alan right now.
I watched his last fight.
One in the UFC, or he's one in Bellator.
I watched his last fight against John Phillips. He came out throwing. He just got caught. Like he was throwing. Yeah,
I remember that fight. He got slapped, right? Pretty quick.
I think Hugh could sleep him too because he's big, man. He's a big middleweight.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not taking him though.
What a garbage fight.
Amadovsky. I like Amadovsky. Who do you like?
Yeah. The guy that's won in Bellator and went on big shows before.
Boom. Both in on. All right. Next up, we got Zalgas Zumagulov against Jerome Rivera. These guys are fighting in the flyweight division. Zumagulov is 13-5 record. He's 5'4" with a 66-inch reach. Rivera 10-5. He is 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Huge height and reach advantage for Jerome.
So I actually like Jerome Rivera. If I remember correctly, what?
I thought I was going to catch you on this one. Catch you slipping.
He took a pretty short notice fight against Francisco Figueiredo, I believe. Is it that fight?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to find out. I can't see anything.
No. Oh, no. So he lost to Francisco Figueiredo and then turned around and took the fight with Odie Osborne like
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later.
3 weeks later.
And 2 weeks later. 2 weeks. And he got knocked out kind of quick. And I mean, he's had a rough go in the UFC, but he also has some things that, he lost to Brandon Royval, like in LFA. Okay. Lost to Robert Sanchez. He has some LFA experience, has a win on Dana White Contender Series. It's a little tough though to pick against the Kazakhstan guy. I mean, if you're looking for a dog here, Jerome Rivera plus 325 is kind of tasty.
I don't hate it, man. I was not impressed. I watched his Zumagulov's last 2 fights. I watched the one against the Pavaya and the one against Albazi, the last one. If Rivera can use his distance and use his range, I could see it.
By the way, Rivera is 5'10",
Yeah,
he's 5'4".
Yeah, and he's got a 6.5-inch reach advantage.
Man, Rivera has tools that he could.
I was listening to a couple other podcasters talk about it, and they were talking about Zumagulov pressuring him, and I wasn't that impressed with his wrestling. He gets hit. That fight against Albazi was touching him, and they're about the same size. Can you imagine the 6-inch reach advantage? I don't know, but I like the odds on this one.
I think you're getting a very, very good
this is more
odds to go with Jerome Rivera. If Rivera was like plus 180, then I'd be like, plus 140, then I'd be like, okay. But I mean, plus 260 or close to plus 300.
Unless Vegas knows something we don't know. I like it. I'm not that impressed with Zumagulov. All right, next up in the middleweight division, Omari Akhmedov against Brad Tavares. Akhmedov is 21-5-1. He stands 6 foot tall with a 73-inch reach. Brad Tavares is 18-6. He stands 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. Trains out of Extreme Couture. Yeah. Brad Tavares is a slight favorite at minus 170. The comeback is plus 140 on Omari. What do you like in this one?
Man, it's kind of tough for me because I kind of wish the odds were a little bit closer. I don't like giving up minus 170 with Brad Tavares here. Brad Tavares hasn't looked particularly impressive the last few years. Hasn't been not near as active as he used to be. I think he's a much better fighter when he's active. He did fight earlier this year, about 6 months ago, and got a win. But before that, lost 2 pretty decisive fights to Edmund Shabazian and Izzy, obviously. But, I mean, those were 2019, 2018, skipped all of 2020. But then I look back at Omari, and it's like, he's pretty much just a wrestler. And, he's Russian. And it's like, but he hasn't been super impressive either. I mean, he did beat Tom Breeze.
Just beat Tom Breeze is a good win.
That's a good win. But then that Chris Weidman fight keeps sticking out to me. And that was one of the most horrendous fights between 2 ranked people I've ever watched in my life.
I remember.
And so it's like, I just hate this fight all the way around. I think I'm going to pick.
You're like me, I think.
Brad Tavares, I think. But I'm not touching this fight, dude.
Yeah, I'm hard pass for me. I'll pick. I'm going to go with Tavares, but there's no cash being laid on that one.
Here's the thing I will say, and the reason why I'm leaning on Tavares, if people really want to get in on this, Tavares is a mother to take down.
Yeah,
he's a great athlete. He's super strong. He has good cardio. You never really see him get tired in fights. He went 5 rounds with Izzy and was still trying to take Izzy's head off in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Izzy was nowhere to be found because that's what Izzy does. I've seen Omari get tired though. And I just think Brad has the tools to make the fight happen on the feet. And I think he's a better striker. Brad Tavares should win this fight, but
we're going to find out tomorrow. Next up in the flyweight division, we have Jennifer Maia against Jessica Ai. Maia is 18-7-1, stands 5'4" with a 64-inch reach. Jessica Evil Eye, 15-9. She stands 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. So a little bit of height and reach advantage for Evil Eye. Odds on this one, looks like Maia is a moderate favorite, minus 200. The comeback is plus 160 on Jessica Eye.
Maia mops her.
Mops her.
Yep.
Okay. I don't disagree with that.
I think Jessica Ai has a big hole in her game, and that is in her grappling. And if you look, she's been trying to be more active, trying to fix that grappling.
Yep.
But you know what? In the last few months, that's great that she has a couple grappling matches, but lost to JoJo Calderwood, lost to Cynthia Cavillo, lost to Valentina, which is fine. I mean, everybody loses to Valentina. But, I mean, go look at all of her losses. Miesha Tate, Betch Correia, Sarah McMahon, Julia Pena, Miesha Tate, Alexis Davis. Like a lot of those girls that she loses to, they're girls that are on the ground. What does Jennifer Maia do? She takes people
submits
down
people.
and submits people.
Yeah.
I not only does I think Maya beats her, I think she submits her in the first or second round.
I don't hate that. Is there a submission prop up? Not on our site. There's not yet. I don't think. Maybe. Nope, not yet. Next up, another fight in the middleweight division. We got Dricus Du Plessis. I don't even know if I said that right. Duplessis against Trevin the Problem Giles. Duplessis is 15-2, stands 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. Mr. Giles is 14-2, stands 6 foot tall with a 74-inch reach. Pretty even as far as odds go on this one. Almost flipping a coin on this one. Who do you like in this one?
Thank you, Vegas. Thank you. Trevin Giles all day.
All day, huh?
All day. Please. Okay. So I don't know if you remember his last fight.
No, I don't.
But I do. Against
Marcus Perez.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. I'm not wrong on this. I just looked it up for the first time. It was against Marcus Perez.
Yep.
Marcus Perez was beating him, stalking him, walking him down, and Duplessis is terrified to get hit in the face. He does have some nice hands, though, and he caught Perez because Perez kept trying to do all this crazy spinning stuff.
Yeah.
And he got caught. He missed, I think, with a spinning head kick or spinning back fist, missed, and hands were down, and Duplessis just cracked him right on the chin and dropped him, and he couldn't recover. Trevin Giles is tough as nails. And he has knockout power. He has wins over good guys. The only people he's lost to are Gerald Merchant and Zack Cummings via guillotine chokes, and both of those looked like he addressed those a little bit in the James Krause fight, if I remember correctly, because Krause is a really good submission guy and has a great guillotine himself. Couldn't get caught in that. I love Trevin Giles here. I love Trevin Giles.
I'm all over it with you. I like it. I
literally think Duplessis is one of the few guys that is afraid to fight in the UFC. His body language was horrible in that Marcus Perez fight.
Better jump on it now then.
I'm on it.
Next up in the featherweight division, we got Ryan the Wizard Hall back after a almost 2-year layoff. He's fighting Ilia Topuria El Matador. Ryan Hall has an 8-1 record. He is 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. Topuria 10-0, standing 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. Who do you like in this one, Mr. Partridge?
Well, so we've talked about this. This is great matchmaking, by the way.
Great matchmaking. This is a great.
You told me that Topuria said something that makes me go really hard into. I was already on Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
And then Topuria said something that I think is hilarious. He said,
"Yeah,
I train with a room full of guys like Ryan Hall." No, you don't, sir. There's nobody else like Ryan Hall. He's not just a jiu-jitsu specialist. He's a savant. He literally has developed and created a bunch of the 50-50 leg lock position. He's a one of a kind. Now he is one dimensional. So if you could shut that part of his game down, he's beatable.
Yeah.
But guess what? There's been a lot of pretty good guys that haven't been able to shut it down. I'm going Ryan Hall here. Give me the odds on Ryan Hall because all it takes is one mistake. And not only is Topuria losing, he's probably not fighting for 9 to 12 months because his ACL is going to have to get reconstructed.
I'm going to go the other way on you this one. Not betting it because I definitely don't like the minus 250, but I'm going to go Poirier on this one.
That's cool. I'm just saying Ryan Hall hasn't lost a fight besides the Ultimate Fighter, obviously, but Ryan Hall has not lost a fight since his pro debut.
He just, the thing that
he's undefeated in the UFC, FYI.
I like it, but he's not active. He said it's been 2 years from there. He had 6 months in between Darren Elkins and BJ Penn, but then he had 2 years between Gray Maynard and BJ Penn.
Because people didn't want to fight him.
Come on, it's the UFC. They can find people to fight him. He's not that good. He's that good on the ground in the jiu-jitsu world, but he's obviously not that good in MMA.
And that's the other thing. it's not like he's just not fighting and he's inactive. You know where he's at. He's competing and he trains. People go to train with Ryan Hall to work to get ready for camps.
He's been training with Wonder Boy.
I know. So like, that's what I'm saying. Is like, it's not like he's not in rooms getting work in. Like, it's like Leon Edwards, right? Like, I was pretty hard on him for not being active.
Yeah.
But he was training the whole time and he didn't miss a step. And we saw that in the little bit of the Bilal Muhammad fight that we saw. We saw that he was working on his craft and getting better. No ring rust. Heaven forbid Ryan Hall now has a little bit of confidence on his feet training with Wonder Boy. And has and not just confidence, but some competency on his feet. So he's not as one-dimensional. He's always going to be that jiu-jitsu guy. He's going to try and grab your legs. But if he's good enough now to try to make you start trying to get your hands up because he's good at getting that front leg, flicking it up there into your face. Like, I mean, Poirier is a beast. No and ifs or buts about it. But this fight is a lot closer, and I just think the value of Ryan Hall is just way worth it.
I think from a betting standpoint, I agree. I just think Poirier wins the fight. Next up, we got Nico Price and Michel Pereira. Price is 14-4 record. He stands 6 foot tall with a 76-inch reach. Pereira is 25-11. He stands 6'1" with a 73-inch reach. I don't even know which way to go on this one.
Oh, I do.
You're on Pereira?
No.
You're on Price on this one?
I love Nico Price, dude. Pereira is a berserker, and I've seen him get tired before in fights too. And Pereira is fun to watch. Like, he's fun. Don't get me wrong. And his win over Chaos Williams, that was solid. But Nico Price is a savage. He's not a top 10 guy, might not even really be a top 15 guy. He might be almost like a gatekeeper type into the top 15. Lost to Vicente Luque twice. Jeff Neal, he's losing his losses are to really, really good guys. Are his losses that carry a ton of power. Michel Pereira is a whole lot of flash with not a ton of substance.
Yeah, usually that's the way it goes with him.
And James, and Nico's a savage too.
Oh, he is.
Who freaking knocks people out from hammer fist from the bottom position?
Yeah, he's a dog.
He's a dog, dude. And I like Nico Price a lot. And I actually think this is a good fight for him. I think he can match Pereira's energy. And I think he's the better fighter.
I'll ride with you on that. I like the value on that one, actually.
Cool.
Next up, we got Max Griffin against Carlos Condit. Max Griffin is 17-8, stands 5'11" with a 76-inch reach. Carlos, the natural born killer, is coming in at 32-13, 6'2" with a 76-inch reach. Max Payne's a minus 190 favorite, plus 155 to come back.
Man. What's up, Hunter? What can Carlos Conduit keep the time travel clock back and keep on this run that he's on? Dude, back off.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but I want to see it.
I
don't you kind of want to see it though?
Man, this is one of those. This is one of those cards that it's like the odds are like not on some of these fights. I'm like, I don't know if Max Payne should be a 190 favorite against Carlos Condit because he's looked good his last two fights.
Our book has it at minus 210. You can't lay minus 210 on Max Griffin against, and Conduit has looked better. This should be a very winnable fight for Max Griffin, that he should be able to come out, win the fight, kind of dominant, get a big name on his resume, and get that done. But Carlos is still scary. I think he's looked really good in his last two fights.
Good against Court McGee,
and I think he's scary. So this is a hard. I'm picking Max officially. This is a stay away from me though. This is a sit back and enjoy it because I think it's going to be fun.
Ditto. I'm with you. Max Griffin for me as well. Next up, you might as well just not even watch this fight.
10 unit max bet.
If you want to take a break and do whatever, go cook some food, run to the store, this next fight's probably the one. Sean O'Malley and Chris Montino.
No, you want to watch this. It's going to be quick.
For what? You know what's going to happen. They're
dude.
Here, Sean, let's just give you another win.
Cool. This is going to be
cool. Out of all the guys the UFC could have picked, they picked this guy making his UFC debut against Sean O'Malley. Yeah.
Hey, so, okay. We talked about this a little bit. I'm not going to hate on the UFC too hard here. They had a young up-and-coming stud named Sage Northcutt, and they fed him to the wolves a little too early, and they ruined that kid. They ruined him because, quite frankly, at 100, at 19 years old, he didn't belong in the UFC, just like Chase Hooper doesn't right now either. Right?
Yeah. I agree with that.
They ruined him. So they have this kid, Sean O'Malley, who's extremely charismatic. He does have some really nice skills. He has a very unique body for 135. He's marketable. He's fun. He does his own podcast. He makes his own shirts. He does a lot of the things that superstars do. But he's not the skill set of a superstar in the UFC yet. So they're bringing him along nice and easy. They gave him to a dog, and Chico showed that he's not ready yet. So they're going to give him 5 or 6 guys that he's going to beat up. This is just one of those guys. Hey, good for this guy because he's probably getting a 4-fight deal.
Yeah,
and he's going to take an L on the first one, and this guy might be a little bit more ready for the UFC even than Sean O'Malley is right now. He just win? Isn't he just LFA title?
No, he hasn't fought in the LFA. He fought in the cage fighting, whatever it is.
Yeah. Like King of COTC or whatever.
CFFC. What is that? Is that the cage fighting, whatever? Oh, a Cage Fury. That's the one that freaking what's his name? Just
Tyson. Yeah, Tyson he's the champ though. But he's the champ though. So but it's just one of those things, and it just is what it is. And you know what? And rightfully so. O'Malley's going to get a lot of hate for it, but guess what? He's going to get paid.
They keep him on the card. People want to see him. So
people want to see him. I want to see him. Hunter wants to see him. Everybody loves the Sugar Show.
So we're both on Sean O'Malley.
Oh my gosh. Lock of the night. Like, dude, this is as free of a gimme as there is. Now watch him lose now. Watch him. Like,
I wouldn't hate it.
Would be hilarious.
Next up in the bantamweight division, we got Irene Aldana against Yana Kunitskaya.
This is a great
Kunitskaya. Fight. Well, I thought it was gonna be great, but Aldana missed weight by 4.5 pounds.
Well, is the fight off?
No, she's still fighting.
Oh, okay, then it's good. Like, it's still gonna be a good fight.
Aldana's 12-6. She's 5'9" with a 68.5-inch reach. Kunitskaya 14-5. She stands 5'6" with a 68.5-inch reach. I picked Kunitskaya. I'm going with Kunitskaya. Yeah, I think she gets the fight. I think she gets the fight to the ground. And
you know what I really like about Kunitskaya? The power couple thing she's got going on with Thiago Santos.
Yes, I love that.
And since they've been doing that, she's looked fantastic since.
She really has. I was going to say she's gotten better her last couple fights.
Absolutely, and I think having him in a corner really.
Zack sneezing. Bless you.
No, I'm telling my kid to quit playing with his toys down here.
Oh yeah, I did hear that too.
So yeah. So I actually like Yana Kunitskaya in this fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. Aldana, she is good, but she what is this?
Felix tomorrow night.
So I just want to add this. This is something that I don't have to deal with, thankfully. These girls, like, they're women, and it's their time of the month, and sometimes that messes with their weight cuts, and that sucks, and it's a real thing, and I don't have to deal with it. So I'm not going to pretend like suck it up and get it done. No, it doesn't work that way.
Time out. She said one thing in that Twitter thing that caught my attention, that I don't think she's with the right. She definitely doesn't have the right nutrition coach, because she said that she stopped sweating. Well, if she stops sweating, then you need to make adjustments with your nutrition and your hydration so that you can get your body. Basically, your body's just shutting. Basically, her body's shutting down, is what it is.
Okay. Well, as people, as two males with different anatomy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and.
I mean, I agree that if it's
her body could just be holding on to whatever it could be holding on to due to the stress.
That's true too.
Doesn't necessarily mean diet and wrong people around you. I mean, she's never had an issue before. So that's she gets a pass. She gets a pass because this is first time.
Fair enough.
If it happens again, I'm not buying it twice.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. That stuck out to me, because that was like, okay, if she stopped sweating, why didn't they change them? Why didn't they make the adjustments with her nutrition and her hydration to get her body back losing again? But I don't hate it. I'm on Yana. Anyways, I took her. She was a slight dog. I got her at plus 105.
Okay.
What do you like? Did you make a pick?
Yana.
You're on Yana too?
Oh,
all right,
yeah. Because of Tiago. Like, she's been great since then. She looked so impressive in that Caitlin Vera fight.
Next up, we got sorry guys, we're jamming through these because we got another fighter spotlight on 4:00. So
you got 25 minutes. We're good.
I know, but we're gonna take forever on Poirier and McGregor.
We're about to take forever on this one.
Tai Tuivasa and Greg Hardy. Bam Bam, 12-3, stands 6'2", 75-inch reach. The Prince of War, Hardy, 7-3. He stands 6'5" with an 80.5-inch reach. I already know you're all over Bam Bam on this one, because you're not a fan of Greg Hardy.
One, huge fan of Bam Bam. Love Tai.
I loved his interview. Did you listen to his interview?
No, I haven't yet. He's the best, though.
He was saying that. He's like, I don't know why you guys are like, because they were asking him about the shoey. He's like, I don't know why that's such a big deal. He's like, it's like an everyday thing in Australia. He's like, that's just what we do. And you guys are making this big deal about it. And he's like, but it's just like.
This is an Australia, dog.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it's gross. One, love Bam Bam, though. Two, I think Greg Hardy's a chump. I still think he's a chump. I'm sorry. You don't get to do what you did and not serve any time and get away with it, and basically get away with it because you intimidated a pregnant girl that you beat the crap out of.
Did he beat her up, or did he just threaten? I don't remember those.
He threw her onto a bed that had guns on it, and he picked her up and threw her onto the guns and threatened to kill her. And then she didn't come to court, and the charges got dropped because she was nowhere to be found.
Do you think there was more to the story, though?
I think that she was afraid for her life. And now everybody's like, oh, he's great. He's changed. He's better. That's great. Good for him. I'm not saying people shouldn't get second chances, but what a beautiful sport for him to come into, where I could hope and pray to eventually just watch somebody shut his lights off.
What if there was more to the story, though, that we're not hearing?
I don't.
Like, maybe.
There was no denying it. Here's the thing. When you are an athlete, this is all I needed to know.
Yeah.
Pro Bowl defensive end. Freak athlete.
Freak athlete.
Freak athletes in a league full of freak athletes.
Yeah.
He like the apex of a freak athlete, right? Hey, Greg Hardy, guess what? Nobody in the league wants you. Why doesn't anybody in the league want him, Jason?
Because he's a piece of crap.
Because he's a piece of crap. Because it happened. And everybody knows it.
You're going to hate me here, but I kind of think he wins this fight.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. If from an unbiased standpoint, you think he wins the fight, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, don't say there's more to the story, because if there was more to the story, he'd probably still be in the league. I mean, freaking Ray Lewis. Yeah. Dude, freaking Ray Lewis got tied to murder, and he still got to stay in the league.
That's 20 years ago, 30 years ago. That happens now, he ain't in the league. I don't think he's in the league. Him, Ray Rice, those guys are not in the league if that stuff
Ray
comes out today. At this
Ray
day and
Rice
age,
never made it back in the league. Ray Rice never made it back in the league.
But he would, yeah.
But Kareem Hunt did. Tyreek Hill's playing.
Kareem Hunt's was a little different story, though, too. See, the thing I don't like about this,
Tyreek Hill knocked out a girl in college.
Yeah, but what was
on camera?
What was she doing to him?
She called him the N-word.
I still don't agree that's a reason to hit a girl, but whatever.
No, it's not.
I always think there's more. There's just more to the story when it comes to like those.
No, dude, do the research. Like I've looked at, like just look into it. He threw on the intimidator.
I know that. I do know that. I do know.
She didn't show up. She didn't show up. He paid her to not show up.
Well, I don't hate that then, because she may have done something to trigger it. And said, hey, give me this money. She may have instigated some. I'm not saying I agree with it.
No.
Not saying I agree with it.
Let's say I have damning evidence on something that's going to get you sent to jail. And then you come to me and you say, hey, bro, here's 25 grand. Go away. Or I'm going to kill you. I'm going to take the 25 grand.
He didn't say that. I guarantee you he didn't say that. I don't think that happened. I just always think when there's especially spouse, boyfriend and girlfriend, and you're only getting the one side of the story, I'm not agreeing with the actual act that happened. Like, you're a piece of shit. You should never do that. There's no excuse for it.
If there was,
there's more to the story that we're not hearing.
There's more to it. He still would have been in the NFL, I think.
I see. I don't know.
All right, let's talk about the fight. Okay. So anyway,
you think Bam Bam wins?
Yeah, I do. Because one, he's Polynesian, and he's got a giant coconut head, and he doesn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
Greg Hardy's only path to victory is knocking somebody else. Here's the other thing that I really like about Bam Bam. Where does he train now?
Where is he at now? He's still
AKA.
Did he go to AKA?
He is going to AKA now. He's learning how to wrestle a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay.
He did say something in his fighter interview too.
What?
About doing that? That he said Greg Hardy just wanted to stand and bang, and he's like, oh, okay, we'll see about that. Like, that maybe that takedown is going to be there for him.
Yeah. So he lost 3 straight fights on the ground guys, and so Bam Bam taking the appropriate things, doing the thing that Mark Hunt never did. Remember, you got to remember, he came up under Mark Hunt.
Yeah,
he did the thing that Mark Hunt never did, and humbled himself and said, "No, I'm going to do. If I ever want to be more than just a stand and bang guy, which is really fun and entertaining, but you'll never be champion doing that.
Yeah.
Unless your name's Francis Ngannou. But even Francis is an extreme couture learning takedown defense and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Goes to AKA, right? I will take Bam Bam, the shoey, and his overhand right over anybody in the heavyweight division, though, that's not Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. Basically, I think those are the only 2 types of guys that could actually just out Bam 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 Bam. Greg Hardy's not that guy, dude. You're not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal.
Greg
Hardy. Here's the other thing that we saw in his last fight. So Greg Hardy's last. Okay, ready? Last wins. Mo Green, not in the UFC. Yorgan De Castro doesn't belong at the heavyweight division and doesn't belong in the UFC. Ben Sosolia, no contest.
And even though he lost to Volkov, he had a good fight with Volkov.
I mean, he lost 45-50.
Short notice, but he was in the fight. Like, it wasn't like he just got mopped. Like, he had moments in that fight. Yeah,
Volkov, kind of toyed with him. He'd have moments in that fight. Get out of here. Volkov broke his arm.
He had a pretty good showing for short notice, and to not even, what fight was that in his UFC? Like his
seventh fight
with Volkov?
His 7th pro fight.
3, 4. That was his 5th fight in the UFC.
Okay. His 7th pro fight.
And he goes in there and fights a guy with 37 fights.
Good for him.
On short notice.
Okay. I'm just saying, look at all the guys in the UFC that he's beaten. None of them are currently employed by the UFC. I don't think. Is one Adam still currently employed by the UFC? Maybe. Well, nope. He's not. Like, he hasn't beaten anybody.
Well, who's Ty beating? Harry Hunsicker? Stefan Struve?
Short notice. Dude, Struve was in the UFC for like 15 years.
He's a bum. You know it, and I know it.
Has a win over Stipe. That bum has a win over Stipe Miocic.
He did beat Andre Arlovski back in 2018. That's about the only thing he's not beating anybody. He's not a world beater either.
He's not a world beater.
All right. We're going opposite on this one.
You're wrong. And
we're going to find out tomorrow.
I can't wait to cash that. I just want Greg Hardy to go 9-9. Oh, one more thing about Greg Hardy.
I do want to see the shoey. I do want to see the shoey.
If Greg Hardy wins, can we please just give him to Derek Lewis? Please.
Oh, they've been going back. Yeah, I want him to win just for that, so he'll fight Derek Lewis. That's what I want to see.
Derek Lewis 100% sleeps him.
All right, next up, co-main event, welterweight division, Gilbert Burns against Stephen Thompson. Gilbert Burns is 19-4, stands 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. Wonder Boy is 16-4-1. He stands 6 foot tall with a 75-inch reach. You're all over Wonder Boy, aren't you?
I just love Wonder Boy.
I do too, but something's.
That's fine. Here, can I just tell you the thing? I honestly think this fight's flip a coin. Flip a coin. Because Wonder Boy is a master at avoiding big shots and things like that. You have to be very quick, very explosive to catch him.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Pettis did. Burns is pretty quick and pretty explosive. Right?
He's very quick, very explosive.
Yeah, very quick, very explosive. Could catch him. Has the ability, has the skill set to do it. Probably a lot stronger than Wonder Boy too. So that cat and mouse game that Wonder Boy plays of keeping the range and using his footwork and his movement and his blitz attacks and then circling, all that, it's very hard to solve because you can't just bring in training partners to mimic that. That's Wonder Boy's, I think, one of his greatest assets is you can't really find somebody to mimic what he does. And I would say Burns has all the tools. If somebody's going to beat him, it's going to be somebody like Burns that beats Wonder Boy. Fair? My only question is, where's Burns' head at? Because he broke in that Usman fight.
He did that. You just brought up a very good point. Because I was going to say who has more tools. I think Burns has more tools, more ways to win the fight.
But absolutely, because he has knockout power in both hands and
he can wrestle and he
strangle you.
But I think that like you said, I think that fight. But he could have learned from it too. He could have learned that, hey,
absolutely,
maybe me shooting in there and trying to go for the kill and was not the right idea. Maybe I should have taken a step back and surveyed the situation a little more before I delve head in first and end up getting knocked out.
I mean, he's the first person that we've seen hurt Usman, right? But he's also his last two wins before that were to Damian Maia, who's pretty much bye-bye out of the UFC, and Tyron Woodley, who is bye-bye out of the UFC. Not his fault. I'm not saying those are bad wins or he hasn't beaten anybody. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying his two wins that got him to that title fight weren't exactly, in retrospect, these amazing wins.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
But fair. I mean, Wonder Boy, same thing though. Jeff Neal looked unreal against. Vicente Luque looked unreal against. Got knocked out by Darren Till or by Anthony Pettis. Lost to Till. Go back and rewatch that fight. If that fight doesn't happen in England, I think Thompson won that fight. Yeah. Probably and then beat Jorge Masvidal right before that. So I like Thompson. I just think the odds should be probably closer to like -120, -130 to
I think it's
be all over it. But Burns absolutely has the tools to beat somebody like Thompson. The real question is mentally, where is he at? Because he looked broken after that Usman fight.
Gosh, I'm having such a hard time with this one because I really want to see Wonder Boy and Usman. I'm going to go Burns.
I don't hate it. We both love Gilbert Burns. He seems like such a good guy. This
is just more of a kind of like I talked about earlier. It's more that all I'm seeing is everybody's all over Thompson, and it's more of a I'm going to go the other way. It's a coin flip fight, like you said. I'm not going to bet it. Anyways, let's get this main event rolling. Poirier Mcgregor 3, the diamond 27-6, 5'9", 73-inch reach. The notorious one 22-5. He is 5'9", 74-inch reach. We just saw this fight 6 months ago. What's going to be different? What is going to be different in this fight than was 6 months ago?
There's going to be some different aspects of this fight. One, go ahead.
Has there been another trilogy in the UFC that you can think of? And I looked up the Cormier one. It wasn't they've had this short of a turnaround.
For
6 months
trilogy,
for the trilogy.
Yeah, no, but it's also pretty different though, because the first one happened 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's
pretty quick turnaround though.
Pretty.
I think seems like it's a super fast turnaround. I do like it in the aspect of, with COVID being over, Vegas is open. If there's a time to do it, that does make sense. Like let's get it cracking.
I mean, yeah.
But what's going to be different though?
Connor's stance.
Okay, he's going to make adjustments.
He's going to make it a little more free flowing. Most importantly, not so much weight on that lead leg to be able to check those leg kicks a little bit better and address those. Obviously, there are a couple things though that I don't think that are overcome or something, or things that I think that there are things that Dustin Poirier brings to the table that Connor just can't overcome. And one of those is Poirier is a bigger man. When Connor talks about going up and fighting at 170, I'm just like, please no. Please no. But when Poirier says go up to 170, and I look at his frame and his chest and his back and his size, I'm like, dude, I kind of want to see Poirier go fight somebody like Usman. I want to see Poirier and more Masvidal. Those fights interest me. McGregor's doesn't. Poirier has the ability, I think, size-wise, to go up and fight those guys. He's just bigger. And why is that important? Because that insane left hand that Connor has, it's not as insane at 155 against those big 155ers.
Nope.
He doesn't put down the Poiriers of the wheel. Poirier's more closer to Nate Diaz's size. Connor didn't sleep Nate in 7 rounds with him. You know what I mean? So it's just I tried. The last 48 hours, I've tried to make a case for Connor every which way. I'm still going to be cheering for him and hoping for him, but I think Poirier beats him, and I think he beats him inside 3 rounds.
Yeah, you and I have been talking about this all week, and you had me kind of second guessing a little bit. But I did a little bit more research. I watched the pre-fight press conference. I watched the weigh-ins this morning. I watched the weigh-ins from 6 months ago. I see people saying Dustin looks like he struggled with the weight cut. In my opinion, he looked better this morning than he did 6 months ago on the scale. Just my opinion. And
that's fair. I just didn't think he looked very good at the press conference yesterday. He was licking his lips a lot. His cheeks were already pretty sucked in.
Yeah.
Connor noticed it in person, and he pointed it out. But he's a bigger guy than Connor. Connor said, "I'm already on weight." Because he's bigger.
Yeah, but if you watch the weigh-ins before, he looked even worse to me, in my opinion. And then there was another thing that you had brought up that almost had me thinking when he did that interview with Megan Olive when he was talking about how he kind of just didn't care. He was just kind of going in. In the way I read into that was, I think this is him more of saying, hey, this is Connor's thing. Let Connor talk. Let him do his thing. I don't care. I'm coming in here to fight. I'm not getting all worked up. I'm not going to get all hyped up about this. Connor's going to be doing the one talking. I just slept him 6 months ago. I'm confident in my training and my abilities. And yes, he's dangerous. I know he's dangerous. I know I could get knocked out, but I am confident. That's just kind of what I gathered from it.
And here's the thing, people. I love Conor? Yeah, but guess what? I love Dustin Poirier too. Dude, he's so
what a
likable.
story too, dude. Like his story come from. Yeah.
Oh, and I will say this: I love Jerk McGregor at the press conference.
See, I thought it was a little forced. This one, kind of like Jeff is saying, he looked like he was front. It seemed a little.
Actually, see, I disagree. I actually felt like that was a little bit more natural. See, like the Khabib press conference, I thought was super forced.
Yeah.
Like I felt it in the moment. I'm like, this isn't Conor. This isn't just trash talk. This is him just trying to be mean.
Well, it's kind of hard is when you're listening to him say that stuff. It's like, what trash talk? And that's kind of the demeanor from Poirier's demeanor was like, what is he going to say to me? I just slept this guy 6 months ago. He's going to come up here and all he can talk about is my wife DMing him and he wants to see the hair around my balls. Like Poirier's just like, dude, I knocked you out 6 months ago. Say what you want. You got slept.
Why is his wife in his DMs?
I don't know. I just think he's
such a meanie.
I think he's like Jeff said, I think he's trying to get himself pumped up and
maybe he needs to, and that's fine. And maybe that pulls a little bit of that dog out of him.
But who has more to lose in this fight? I think Poirier has
nobody.
In my opinion, if Poirier loses, he's not getting the title shot. McGregor loses
now, but okay, time out.
But McGregor loses. He's still got a big fights left. Not to say Poirier couldn't have a big fight, but he's not getting the title shot.
By the way, I brought this up with Ammon, and it sounds like if Conor says if he wins that he wants to fight Oliveira. The winner needs to fight Oliveira, and that's great. If Conor loses, who cares? He gets to go fight Nate in the trilogy now.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Great. If Poirier loses, guess what Poirier gets to do? He gets to go fight Justin Gaethje or Michael Chandler for a number one contender fight. He's right back in it. He's not going anywhere with the loss to Conor McGregor.
He's not going anywhere. He's just not getting it. He's just not in. Like he wins this fight. He's
only one fight. He's only one fight away. Well, unless Conor beats Oliveira, but
it ain't happening. He ain't making it through tomorrow night.
I don't think he's making it. I don't think he beats either of them right now. I've said Conor's day of beating elite guys at 155 in the UFC. Those days are over.
Yeah,
I believe that those days are over. Can he beat him? Maybe every once in a while. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe once out of every 3 or 4 fights, he could clip a Poirier. Maybe he could clip a Justin Gaethje. Maybe he could clip Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's probably the most winnable fight for Conor at this point. Not sure if he does it, but it's probably the most winnable, right?
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson, maybe that fight's happening now. No, if Conor wins this fight, he fights. If he loses this fight, it's Nate Diaz, it's Jorge Masvidal, and then it's bounce. Thanks for all the memories.
Isn't it crazy how big of a pop McGregor still get? Like they were booing Dustin. Dustin. It's ridiculous.
Is ridiculous.
Freaking
Dustin doesn't do anything but just do everything right. Put out fight to the night performances.
Freaking Vegas fans, man. You guys are degenerates. Like, come on. That's just ridiculous. You're booing freaking Dustin Poirier. And like we've talked about, when was the last dogfight McGregor's been in? Nate Diaz 5 years ago? That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I do know. I'm on Dustin. I'm on Dustin.
Yeah, me too.
And the way it looks, Vegas is on him too, because the odds have went from pretty much being even to now Dustin is a minus 135.
Okay. So I think you like all of the. Well, you might not like all of these. Time for DraftKings real quick.
Yeah, DraftKings. We got to gem it out. He's going to be a little late. He said a couple minutes late, but so we were okay.
Cool. Hold on really quick. First and foremost, I'm going with my lock of the night, Sean O'Malley.
Sean O'Malley, baby.
You have to. He's not losing. And then we're going only one big underdog, the biggest underdog of the night. I'm going Nico Price.
All right. I don't hate that. I like that.
Then I'm going against you, and I'm going with Tai Tuivasa. You could pick.
I'm all over it. This is more of just kind of a gut feeling. Like I want to see the shoey. I'm not betting it. So there we go.
I'm taking Wonder Boy. I'm taking Trevin Giles. And I do like that one. And then last but not least, of course, I am taking the Diamond, Dustin Poirier.
Echo says he does. He's got a point there too. I just don't think he's.
Well, you can't say every time he loses, he comes back with revenge. The only time we've seen him do it was the Nate Diaz fight.
The Nate Diaz fight. And that was 5 years ago.
That was it. And it's different.
Poirier's different. He's
now.
Continued to fight at that high level and gotten better, and easily could be the champ right now.
If Connor wins, it's because he's being active again, though.
Yeah. If he wins, man, I bet you Dana White is just going to have the biggest smile on his face if McGregor wins that fight.
Gosh, he's going to have to change his pants if he wins.
Even if he loses, though, he still has huge fights on the horizon. I just think it's a win-win for both those guys, man. I'm happy to see Poirier get the payday. He deserves it. He deserves a title shot. I like what McGregor's done with the sport. This is a great fight, man. It's a great time to be a fight fan.
It is. Absolutely.
Great time to be a fight fan.
Agreed.
I'm jumping in. I'm not live in this other one, but I'm just clicking in there so that I know when this other guy's coming in.
Okay.
Is that it for this one?
That's it, dog. Everybody
we covered everything.
Enjoy. It's gonna be a crazy night. I do think, and I told this to Jason yesterday, I think that there is a very, very, very real chance, though, we could see an absolutely epic fight in the main event. We could get vintage Connor, and we could get that dog Dustin Poirier, and we could see a 4 or 5 round just knockout, drag out fight.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm not betting on it, but maybe we get a vintage performance from Connor. And if we do, we all win.
Yeah.
By the way, though, just because it's vintage Connor doesn't necessarily mean it wins either, though, because Poirier is, like I said, he's elite. I personally think he's the best lightweight on the planet. I think he beats Oliveira right now. I think Poirier is the best lightweight on the planet.
I'm not going to stretch that far, but
that's fine. But I don't think it's that far fetched.
No, not far fetched at all. It's going to be a great card. That crowd is going to be insane. Insane.
Let's go.
Hopping in the car. Let's do it. Anyways, we got another Fighter Spotlight interview coming on right now. We're going to jump into another quick podcast and then call it quits for the day.
Thanks for everybody for listening. And Stephen A. Smith, you still suck.
Love it. We out.